franktalks.com.
Relationships, sex, passion with Dr. Laurie Petito. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Welcome to Passion, a show all about love, sex, and relationships. I'm Dr. Laurie Petito. I'm a clinical psychologist, sex therapist, and your host, Monday to Friday, 10 to 11 p.m. For the last 14 years now. Thoroughly enjoy it. And tonight, we have our regular monthly feature that we call Dating Dilemmas, and Frank Kermit has been with us for 3 years now. This is our third year on the air, third year anniversary, which means it's our fourth. We're going into our fourth year on the air, so happy anniversary, Frank.
Happy anniversary, Dr. Laurie.
It's great to have you, and always love having you. Our listeners like having you and hearing what you have to say. And we focus on dating dilemmas on dating. And Frank is a dating coach. He's a best-selling author. He's an educator. He's the relationship columnist for the West End Times newspaper as well. He holds workshops. He does speed dating events for people. So he's right in there in the dating helping field, because he's not a dater anymore. He happens to be married now for a while, so you're off the scene, but you help people get on into the scene. 514-790-0991. You can text at 514-800 if there's anything you want to talk about. We thought we'd focus tonight on couples that are on again, off again, or reconciliation, couples who get back together after a breakup. And there are some couples who get back together, break up, get back together, break up, and do this over and over again. And we'll talk about when that's not good, and what the risks are, what the red flags are. So we'd love to hear from some people who actually have been through this, have been through a relationship, broken up, got back together. Curious as to how, the getting back together, what did you resolve, or how did you know you needed to get back together with someone? What are some of the reasons you went back to someone? And do you have a record of number of breakups with any given person before it ended for you? How long did it take to finally say bye-bye? 514-790-0991. Now, before we get into the meat of the program, a couple of things. First of all, I want to say hi to Renee, who's a fan of the show, one of Frank's personal fans there. So hi, Renee. Thanks for listening. And also wanted to tell you about a yoga, what is it called? A challenge. I was looking at it in French, défi. A yoga challenge is a 30-day starting May 1st at Moksha Yoga West Island, and mokshayogawestisland.com if you want information. But it's hot yoga, but it's not like steaming hot yoga, but it's hot yoga. It's a lot of fun. I love it. And I'm going to start this challenge, so I'm going to do it. I hope I get through it, but I want to invite our listeners to do it as well. And I'm adding an additional incentive. If you actually can complete the 30 days of yoga with me, or you can take the class with me or not with me, there's classes all day long from morning till night, you will receive a gift basket to enhance your sexuality, which will also include free yoga classes, some toys, some books, etc. So take the challenge. Yoga is really good for you, and it's really good for your sexuality. So when you register at Moksha Yoga West Island, you have to mention passion. So we put you on that list to see if you can make the challenge. If you make it, you get a great prize at the end of that. Plus, you'll feel good too, and everything else will be, be a great thing to do. Want to do it, Frank? Want to do yoga?
No, thank you. My yoga days are behind me. Thank you.
You think? Well, they may be ahead of you.
Well, no, just like, when I think of yoga, I think of...
What do you think of?
The TV show Bizarre, great Canadian comedy show, and you had the John Byron playing a yoga instructor who basically got tangled up in his own dummy legs. So yoga's really not on my plate. It's
not on your list?
No.
A lot of, in the classes I've taken, I see that at least, I'd say half of the people in there are guys.
Because they're there to meet the girls.
No, they're not. No, they're not. Nobody's talking. It's so quiet when you go into a yoga class. Nobody says boo to nobody. It's like quiet, relaxed. And these guys are good, and they're taking it seriously. And you could see they're athletes. Like, you can kind of, by their physique, I suppose. Maybe I'm generalizing. But a lot of guys are doing yoga now.
Because they're getting checked out by girls.
No, they're What?
You just said their
no.
physiques. I noticed by their physiques that they're athletes.
That is not why they're there. Only you would think of that. Truly, only you would think of that. Let's go to speak to Karen. Hi, Karen.
Hello, you two.
Are you going to do the challenge with me? Come on, do some yoga.
You have to. There's something I want to say about this is you have to check with your doctor first.
Yes.
And you have to be very careful, particularly of neck and head. You have to be very, very careful. Some poses are too stressful on those areas. I wouldn't go near them.
I say I haven't found that at all. I've tried all the poses and anyway, where I go, they actually correct you, so it really helps when you get corrected.
Be very careful. I would strongly say be very careful in those areas.
Okay, neck and head.
But yoga is wonderful, but you have to be careful, and you have to speak to your doctor, and you have to know your body.
Yes.
And its limitations.
That's right. And you get to know your body through yoga. That's what I find interesting is you actually get to know your body. You get to know how it responds, so you don't push it too far. And they encourage that. Know your body, know when to stop, so you get to focus on that.
Yeah, because pain is not necessarily gain. Pain
no, pain, exactly. Ouch. No, that's true. So what about reconciliations? Ever have relationships when you go back and forth?
Yes, and I remember one time I confided in my GP, my doctor, and I said, I know I have to leave him. And he said, you'll do it when you're ready. And that just took the pressure off.
Okay.
So I didn't, I knew I had to, but I wasn't ready. And it just took the pressure off, and then I just did it when I was ready.
It's almost like losing weight. Or stopping
it's
smoking.
Like what?
Right? Like losing weight or stopping smoking. You got to do it when you're ready, not when someone tells you to do it.
Yeah, I'm not even like yourself. Like I said, I knew I had to get out of this, but I knew at that time I couldn't do it.
Right.
And when he said, you'll do it when you're ready, it took the pressure off.
Right.
So I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel the pressure. And then it just happened.
And you knew you had to do it anyway. So
yeah.
Right.
And I wanted to know if there's any workshop with Mr. Kermit this Saturday.
He doesn't do them on Saturday anymore. Frank, when's your next one?
I actually had a workshop tonight just before the radio show.
Oh.
You forgot to let me know on Friday, so I could have announced it and let people like Karen know about it, Frank.
That's true.
Shame on you.
Yes, shame on me. If you want to know about the workshops in the future, franktalks.com/workshops. You'll have a link there to the meetup group, which is where I post when the next workshops are happening.
All right, Karen.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much
Bye-bye.
for calling in. Bye. We've got some text messages to get to, and of course your questions. We're talking about reconciliation, getting back together again. When is it a good sign? When is it a bad sign? Should people get back together after a breakup? What do you need to fix before you get back together? What are some of the reasons that people actually come back together? So we'll talk about all of that with Frank Kermit. And anything else you want to talk about, by the way, that has to do with dating. Frank is here to answer those questions, to help you through it. And we'll talk about last night, too. There was a question for you, Frank, that I want to bring up again that maybe we can address. So people do have, dating questions they want to get to. Even though we have our own agenda, we'll go with what our listeners want, and then we'll get into it. You're listening to Passion on CJAD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Bettito on CJAD 800.
Dating dilemmas tonight on Passion with Frank Kermit in studio of franktalks.com. He's a dating coach, author, educator, relationship columnist for the West End Times. He's here to answer your questions. Here's a question for you, Frank. Frank, can you explain what is affection-dependent condition for a guy? I might have the condition. I am single and do online dating and go through emotional roller coaster rides with rejections at times with girls I get attached to fast. So I have a feeling he's talking about he hooks in real quickly, gets really attached to girls he meets online, and then they kind of dump him along the way.
Okay, first of all, if you're getting that attached to somebody that you haven't even met in person, partly is due that because you're visualizing and you're fantasizing, what it's going to be like when we're actually out on a date. Your subconscious and your conscious mind don't know the difference between what you're fantasizing about and what the reality is. That's why the more that you imagine what it's going to be like when you're actually out on a date, the more you're getting attached to these girls that you haven't met. And because you're not dealing with the reality of who these girls are, you're filling in the blanks with parts of your own personality. You don't really know what a girl would say in a given situation. So you're imagining what she would say that would work in your favor.
Do you think he's coming on too strong? Like he may be getting rejected because he's freaking out some of these girls that, you talked often about earning somebody's kind of affections.
If he's already attached to the girl and that's coming through in the emails, that is very creepy behavior. It's going to turn off a lot of girls because they're thinking, whoa, we just sent a couple of emails here and you're already acting as if we've been dating for a long time. Here's the key, though. For him, it really does feel as if they've been dating a long time because he's built up this relationship in his head with a fictional person. That girl on the other end of that internet exchange has now become a symbol. That's not a safe place for her, and that's not a good, emotionally healthy place for him. Dude, don't get attached. A girl has to do a lot more to earn the commitment you're offering through these emails. I get that you're hopeful. You're hopeful that this next girl you meet is going to be the one. However, maybe you need to adopt a new belief, such as, I'm going to have to meet a girl and date her for 3 months before I even consider that she might be the one. At the very least, that might hold you back, and you'll end up being a little bit more suspicious, and you're going to take more time to really decipher what it is that she has to offer. The fact is, you have to figure out what kind of a life you want to plan, and the more you plan your life, the more you're going to be able to go out on a date and say, well, look, I want this type of lifestyle in 5 or 10 years. Is that something you're interested in? Just with those type of questions, you're going to be able to figure out, let's say in a few hours, whether or not somebody is compatible with you long term. It's not about how you feel. It's about whether or not you could build a future together. And that's got to be the focus.
And that takes time. Like, you got to meet the person. That takes some time. And if you come off as needy or dependent, as he has said here, affection dependent, which I've never heard that term, but whatever.
It makes me think it's like touch starved. The idea that you're so craving some affection, you're so craving some type of intimacy that the second that there's that, potential cracker for it, you're jumping at the cracker before you're getting to the whole meal.
Right.
And, look, a lot of people are lonely. A lot of people hate being alone. A lot of people just fear dying alone. Those feelings are normal, but you can't let that influence you when you're getting to meet somebody new. Take your time to meet somebody new, but meet as many people as you can.
Right. Good advice. Someone else writes, I've been seeing someone on and off for 7 years. We can't be together, but don't seem to end this illicit relationship. Advice on how we can make that happen.
The next time you break up, don't go back.
And I think this one, it continues. Hold on a second. And I think the same person is a single mother of 2 who's been seeing a 31-year-old who clearly cannot be with me openly. What should I do? I have a feeling it's the same person, but
okay, let's assume it's the same person here.
It's an illicit relationship because of the age difference, I suppose, is what she's referring to.
It doesn't matter what the reasons are. If you have a child, you need to be mindful of the fact that your relationships with other adults is going to affect your child. And you need to be thinking in terms of who do I want to be with long term? And part of the criteria is that person going to be a good stepfather to my child? That's got to be first and foremost on your mind. And if this person can't even publicly date you, they are disqualified from being a good step-parent.
Right.
Okay, for 7 years, the person isn't ready to tell the world you've been together for 7 years. Is there something illegal going on here? Is somebody underage here that we shouldn't know?
Maybe is it somebody who's married?
Okay, this right now says you're wasting your time.
Right.
Time is the one thing you don't get back. And the longer you spend in this relationship, the less you're going to give opportunities to people who are actually interested in dating you openly, publicly, and being a good stepfather to your kid.
Right.
That's what you got to be looking for. Stop wasting time. 7 years is a long time to be doing this.
That's a very long time.
My guess is that if maybe you got a fear of intimacy here, if you're aiming to be with people who don't want to be with you publicly.
Right.
So you're using them as the excuse to fuel your own fear of intimacy.
And aren't you worth having somebody who wants to spend, who wants to be open with you, or who you can be completely yourself with?
What about your kid? Don't you think your kid deserves to have the opportunity to have a loving step-parent there who's going to be there and nurture and want to publicly be proud to be part of that family? That's what you got to be looking for.
Yeah. 514-790-0991. You can also text us at 514-800. Dating Dilemmas here on Passion on CJAD.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Bettito on CJAD 800.
Dating Dilemmas tonight on Passion. Frank Kermit in studio with us of franktalks.com. Got some questions, Frank, for you. It says here, hi, Frank. The guy has a car, but wants to meet his girlfriend at the metro. She refuses. He is not poor, but invites her to McDonald's. She stops seeing him. Please comment on the situation.
Okay. How long have they been seeing each other?
I don't know.
That would be a factor here. I mean, if they're
So he doesn't want to drive. I'm assuming, is he just cheap? Like, is this a
Well, first of all, if it's a first couple of dates, don't expect all kinds of lavish attention. McDonald's is just as good a place as anywhere else for a date, whether it's a coffee or a burger or whatever. I actually had this conversation once with a client, and I said, well, go to McDonald's for a date. And she says, people don't fall in love at McDonald's. I said, you're right. People fall in love in their hearts. And if the environment is going to stop you there, then that's what you need to work on.
I guess it's just, to invite somebody out and say, if it's one thing to say, hey, let's grab a quick bite or let's grab a quick coffee, because the first date is a quick one. You don't want to make it a long, if you're just meeting them for the first time, we always say make it a fast kind of first.
This is a first date. Again, we don't know here. Is it a girlfriend or is it a first date?
I don't know. Doesn't say.
Okay, if it's a first date, then look, you both get there on your own. You both pay for your own meals. You get to know each other. This concept of, well, somebody should be paying and somebody should be, it's not about chivalry. No, this is all equal. Everybody pays for themselves when you're first getting to know each other. Now, if this
Unless
is somebody...
you get asked out. Like if I'm interested in somebody and I ask them out, I would think I would pay.
Actually, most women, even when they do the asking out, don't think that they should pay. That's been my experience, and that's what I've gotten in terms of feedback.
Really?
So the rule is everybody pays for themselves, and if you want to treat somebody, you can, but that's why you go places that are inexpensive. That's why if you end up treating somebody, you're treating them to a cup of coffee.
Unless you have the money, unless you want to, unless it's something that you want to do and say, here, but then the other person might feel, well, I can't afford this place, so...
Well, if it's a matter of discrepancy of income, if one of you is a professional and the other one is a student, be mindful of that. But if you're both in the same situation, don't expect one person to completely go all out for a first couple of dates. You're getting to know each other.
Right, exactly.
Now, if you're talking about people who have been dating, let's say for 6 months, 8 months, and he's still saying, yeah, go to the metro because I don't want to spend the gas money.
Right.
Okay, now we got a problem.
And our Saturday night date is at McDonald's.
Well, you know what? That may not be bad.
Occasionally that may work, but not if that's this is where I'm taking you out on a date.
Well, unless it's something that she's open to. Don't forget, again, there's not enough context in this question.
No,
Generally speaking, there's nothing wrong with being penny pinching on the first few dates because you don't even know if the person is worth spending the money on.
That's true, too. But we also have to remember that first impressions also matter.
And that says to me that maybe he's looking for someone who's as thrifty-minded as he is.
Maybe. And maybe that's the signal for her to say, you know what? That's not what I want. I want somebody who will drive me around or who will take me to nice places or whatever. That's entirely up to them. 514-790-0991. Dating Dilemmas. We'll have more for you on the other side of the news here on Passion.
Good evening. I'm Kelly Lopari. Here's what's making news right now. At least 149 people are dead after an 8-story building in Bangladesh collapsed. The building housed, among other things, a factory that produced clothes for the popular Joe Fresh clothing line. Dozens remain trapped in the rubble. Bill 14 lives on. The CAQ says it will vote to send the proposed changes to the language legislation on for further study. The party's still demanding changes to the bill, including an exemption for military families and protection of of bilingual status for municipalities. All three levels of government are fighting to keep the UN Civil Aviation headquarters here in Montreal. ICAO has been in this city since it was created in 1947, but officials in Qatar have complained about the current setup, including high taxes and poor services. It's offering a new facility in its country. More news, including video of 3 suspects in a violent attack on an STM bus driver at CJAD.com. From the CJAD 800 Traffic Center, here's Kira Yeager.
Let's talk about the road work. We do have quite a bit. Thankfully, no accidents or stalled vehicles out there. Westbound Ville-Marie, though, is off the limits between the beginning of the autoroute and Lucien-Lallier until tomorrow morning. Guy exit ramp off the eastbound Ville-Marie, that's closed. Eastbound Ville-Marie is about to go down to 1 lane between Turcotte and Atwater from 11 tonight until tomorrow morning. 20 East ramp onto the 15 South is closed. To Carry South ramp onto the eastbound Ville-Marie is closing at 11 o'clock. And toward the Champlain Bridge on the 15 South, it is blocked off between De Leverandre and Atwater. You do have to take a detour through Verdun to get around that. And at 11, the southbound Champlain is going down to just 1 lane. This Saturday, April 27th, get 20 times the Farmer Pre Optimum points when you spend $50 or more on almost anything at Farmer Pre. Restrictions apply. Details in store. Montreal's most trusted traffic and transit every 15 minutes, only on CJAD 800. Your next report is at 10:45.
From the Dormez-vous Weather Center, rainy and windy tonight, the low near +4. Clearing tomorrow morning, continuing windy, the high near 11, and sunshine and 14 for Friday. The temperature downtown is 16 degrees. I'm Kelly Lepari. Next update at 11 o'clock. Breaking news as it happens. News Talk Radio CJAD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Bettito on CJAD 800.
Once a month, a Dating Dilemmas, where Frank Kermit joins us to talk about any kind of dating issues. 514-800 if you want to text us, or you can call us at 514-790-0991. Okay. Hi, Dr. Laurie. Regarding the online guy saying, I've been, the guy who was talking about it being online, I've been on the receiving end of a guy who got too attached before we met, and I stopped it and told him he was getting too attached. So there's the rejection he's talking about. That could very well be one of the girls that, rejected him because just that, he was getting too attached. And it's creepy for women to feel that.
Well, it's just not safe. A guy's getting so attached, he's building you up in his mind, and now he wants to meet you. Girls don't want to be put in that kind of position. Nobody wants to go on a date and feel unsafe. And when I'm working with people who get way too attached and commit too soon, usually the issue is they're so hopeful something's going to happen that they meet somebody, oh, there's a chance that something is going to happen here. I'm going to build this up in my head. And that other person that they're dating stops being a person, becomes a symbol.
Yeah.
And it's when you're in love with a symbol.
Expectations. And then there's the expectations and all of that. Another texter writes, the guy who gets attached too quickly, one advice, go watch 500 Days of Summer. I don't think I've ever seen that movie. Have you?
I don't know.
500 Days of Summer. Okay. Here's another question. This one's probably for me. Is it normal or usual for a man to use a condom to masturbate? I don't think it's neither here nor there. I think that's a complete preference, but I would ask you why. Some men wear a condom because they want to last longer, or they want to reduce a little bit the sensation. Some men want the restriction band around to have the... You have another theory?
Actually, it's something that I recommend for some men because they spend so much time alone, they masturbate too much. They get used to their own touch and their own sensation that when they end up with a woman...
That's true.
They're not used to the sensation. They penetrate a woman and all of a sudden they start losing an erection because it just doesn't feel familiar.
It's not the same stimulation, but I'm not sure a condom is going to make that much of a difference.
Well, the idea is you roll the condom on so that way when you put a condom on just before sex, it feels familiar.
Oh,
you're
I
used
see.
to being turned on.
So you're training yourself somehow.
Exactly. The idea is for some men, when they masturbate, everything is fine, but they're also getting a certain sensation from the touch of their own hand.
Right.
Put a condom on when you are alone, so this way when you're with a girl, putting the condom on, you don't lose the erection because your body says this is a familiar feeling associated with sex. And if you're masturbating with a condom, you also attached the feelings of orgasm to the idea of practicing safe sex. And you can maintain your erection during sex.
So that's kind of training your brain and your penis at the same time. And some guys, I think, wear condoms too because they don't want the mess, or they don't want, they find it cleaner or neater or what have you. I don't hear about that too often, guys using condoms anyway. It's not that it's abnormal. It has nothing to do with that. It really is about a preference of something that you want. So, if there are guys out there who want to respond to that, please do. Another texter says, Montreal in particular has a weird culture of spending money you don't have to impress. If the chick, which I hate that word, complaining about the date at McDonald's is offended, she should find herself some guy with a $500 a month car payment to take her to Milo's. One day they can retire together in the poorhouse. Somebody's a little bit cynical.
Well, somebody's angry. Know what? Sounds very burned. Sounds like he probably got burned and is frustrated, because I do know guys who have been rejected because they didn't make enough money. One of my mentors has a story about that, where he was on a date with a girl. And during the date, she gathered a bunch of information and says, well, based on everything you've told me, you probably make between this amount and this amount every year.
Yeesh.
And actually, she was quite close. And she says, well, I'm looking for a boyfriend in a higher tax bracket. And she got up and left.
No way.
Yeah. And the guy actually made pretty good money. So it was a shock for him. And when he shared that story with me, I realized, okay, this is... Yeah, you have to be careful who you're choosing. And look, there are going to be people who are shallow. There are going to be people who do have a problem.
Yeah.
You need to be grateful that you are avoiding shallow people, because those people inevitably end up alone.
Right.
When you put two shallow people together, eventually their shallowness, it's kind of like putting piranhas in a tank. Eventually they all start turning on each other.
Yeah, I guess so.
A number of shallow people end up miserably alone. And then they go...
Because things are never enough, eh? It's never enough. That's the problem.
The novelty
you never
wears
can...
off.
Yeah. And also you can never... When it's accumulation for stuff or money or whatever, you're never satisfied. There's always more.
All of that is to fill a void that is internal, usually emotional, and stuff can't do that long term.
Right. Somebody wants to know, I don't get this question, maybe you do. How can we express our dissatisfaction in a legal way? Dissatisfaction for what? Were we talking about this for anything? I don't...
Maybe they're not happy about something.
Yeah, I don't think...
They're dating, they're not happy about it, and it's in a legal way?
In a legal way. I don't get it. Forget it. Unless you can specify what the heck you mean by that, write back and tell me what you mean by that. All right, let's talk a little bit about the breakups that people have and the getting back together, and the breakups and the getting back together again. In your idea, in your, having researched and talked to lots of people, why do people get back together after a breakup? Once they've made the decision to break up, what happens?
Now, the best case scenario, something has changed so that whatever it was that broke them up is no longer a factor. Now, that's in the best case scenario. And if that is what is happening, the relationship that's getting back together has a chance of lasting.
Example? Do you have any examples of that?
Okay. Somebody says, you don't spend enough time with me. I'm feeling neglected. I'm feeling abandoned. Person says, I didn't realize you needed more attention. So the person readjusts the schedule to spend more time with their partner. If that change can become a permanent change and it's realistic, that relationship, whatever it was that was on the breaking them up, has been changed. We can move forward. Mm-hmm. However, the majority of people, when they get back together, they're not doing it because something's really actually changed. They're doing it because maybe they just fear being alone. Mm-hmm. And they, it's like, oh my God, I got to get back out there. I got to start dating new people. I got to go through this whole process again. Maybe it wasn't so bad. Maybe I overreacted. And the fear of being alone, because look, the familiar is just easier. Yeah. It's just easier to go back to somebody you've been with for 2 or 3 years.
But what about false promises? What about somebody who tells you, okay, I'll change, I'll do this, I'll do that, or they'll tell you anything so that you don't leave them, or that to get you back. But then what I have found anyway is that most times things don't change.
No. Here's the key, and this is if you've been a student of mine or a client of mine, you know this. You never go back to that same level of commitment after a breakup. You wait until the change has actually been demonstrated through repeated action. That's when you can say, okay, I'm going to say, we broke up, I'll see you once a week. You have that time to prove to me you've really changed. And in that process, give that partner of yours who you're no longer committed, you're still open to dating other people. You'll date them once a week. And as you get to know them again, they can demonstrate whether or not they've actually changed. And if they have, you can then bring it back up to the level of commitment you had.
And you got to see if it's sincere. You got to find ways to evaluate whether this is really sincere. And sometimes you really have to listen to what they're saying, because often it can be manipulation. They'll tell you something you want to hear to get you back, but if you listen to other things that they say, then they kind of...
Yeah, there's a hypocrisy.
There's a hypocrisy. It doesn't match. There's something. You got to listen to that voice of yours.
That's why when you get back with them, you only see them once a week until such a time as they actively demonstrate that whatever the issue was has been dealt with.
What if they're very pushy about wanting to get back together? What if they...
That's the sign that you should not be with that person.
Okay, because sometimes they'll say, well, make up your mind already, or come,
Okay, I'll make up my mind. I'm not going to continue dating you anymore, which was what I had originally decided. So thank you.
Thank you, and goodbye. You're listening to Dating Dilemmas tonight on Passion. We still have some time, so if you've got questions or comments, you can make them at 514-800 or call us at 514-790-0991. I'm Dr. Laurie Betito, and this is Passion on CJAD.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
Dating Dilemmas tonight on Passion. Lots of questions here for Frank. Frank Kermit is in studio with us, as he is every month and has been for the last 3 years. Okay, here's one for you, Frank. If your partner asked you to lose weight and you didn't, they accuse you of not caring enough or loving them enough to make the change. Is that fair? That's a really good question.
It's a really good question. Hits on so many levels. Let's look at what was it that established that expectation to begin with. Now, if you're talking about a couple who both, when they met, were both physically fit, and the very essence of what brought them together is that they both lived a very healthy lifestyle.
Or they both had that same value,
They
right?
both had that same value. And then one of them started to decline for whatever reason. At that point, you can say, now, wait a minute. When we first met, this is what we were as a couple. Now you don't even want to go out and do the same things anymore. The weight itself is probably a symptom of something else going on there. Maybe somebody's gone through a depression. Maybe the values, some of the values have changed. Something might be going on.
Or somebody just got lazy and let themselves go.
There you go. So if it's a matter of this is the way we both were and it was a common value that we shared, that we built a relationship on, then yeah, it is a fair question and a fair request. If, however, we're talking about a couple that the health issue wasn't ever really the issue that their relationship was based on, and is it the partner who's gained weight, or is it the other partner who's having issues and they're blaming it on the partner who's gained weight? That's a completely different story, and that's where we have to say it's unfair. We also have to look at what level of commitment this couple is at. If they're casually dating and maybe they're sort of seeing each other and so on.
No, but I think we're talking about somebody who's been in a relationship here.
Okay, let's assume they've been in a relationship for what, 3 years?
It could be 10 years, 15 years. Like couples it can take time for that weight gain to happen.
But for me, there's a difference, because if they're married, it's for better or for worse. And to turn around and accuse somebody...
For fatter or for thinner?
Yes, for fatter or for thinner, for better or for worse. Mm-hmm. And what I'm almost getting from the email is, you don't love me anymore? Now, come on. You're accusing your partner who's struggling with something, and that is, you don't love me anymore. No, there's something going on here.
Right.
There's something deeper going on. Would love some more information.
How can you date someone who your whole family dislikes?
Very carefully. Look, if you're going to date somebody that your whole family dislikes, you're simply going to have to make a choice. And know that if you continue dating that person, yes, you may have a really great relationship, But let's face it here, if your family completely dislikes that person, it's going to cost you. You're going to have to make some sacrifices.
Yeah.
Get over this notion that, oh, but when they get to know him or her, they'll love the person. When we have children, they'll come around. I'm telling you now from experience, that doesn't happen. Even if you have kids, don't expect that your family will come around and say, that's great, that's wonderful. You can have the kids and they want to see you even less.
Mm-hmm.
So be ready, have some courage here, and be sure that the relationship is worth cutting ties with your family. Because if you have any doubt that this is worth it, don't do it.
Mm-hmm. It's a big cutoff. It's a big sacrifice.
I know people in my personal life that have gone through that, and their relationship had to be extra super strong to survive being cut off from family. So what I'm telling you is, if your relationship isn't on the level that it really can survive a traumatic event, don't do it, because getting cut off from family, even when you have kids, every time you're expecting they're going to come around, they won't come around. If they've cut you off, they've cut you off. You're on your own, and that will be an emotionally traumatic event.
Yeah, and continue to be so.
It'll always be there.
Right.
Every time you have something to celebrate, your kids graduating from kindergarten, moving to first grade, it'll be a reminder, my family isn't here to share in this. And every event you have, family otherwise, will always be tarnished. There'll always be that little asterisk there to remind you, not a pleasant place to be.
Yeah, that's a very difficult place to be. Somebody wants to know, can Frank come on more often? Love him.
Ask Dr. Laurie.
He just asked. All right. Somebody writes in, my girlfriend left me back in the 70s because I was going out too much. Made the change and have been together for 35 years.
Good for you.
There you go. That's exactly how the change you were talking about. Something that was concrete, something that was done.
And he was very fortunate that he chose a really good person, because sometimes, we never got a chance to talk about this, people do change, and the very thing they're changing was the thing that attracted the partner to begin with.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
So,
well, we'll talk about that in a few seconds. We'll take a short break and because that's important also. 514-790-0991. You're listening to Dating Dilemmas here on Passion on CJAD.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Bettito on CJAD 800.
Last couple of minutes here with Frank Kermit for our dating dilemma. So you were talking about, Frank, in terms of people break up, often they're asking for a change, and the very change they make is what?
Okay, here's the dilemma. Sometimes the very thing you hate about the person you're dating is the very thing that attracts you. And when you ask them to make a change and they make that change, all of a sudden...
You don't like them anymore?
You don't like them anymore. So let's say...
That's not good.
I remember with one girl that I was dating, and it was an off-again, on-again relationship. I didn't want to make a commitment, and she kept saying, but I want a commitment, let's be committed. And every time I said, okay, and I became committed, what happens a couple of weeks later? I'm just not feeling it anymore.
Right.
So we break up. I don't see her for a week or two. She calls me up. I miss you. Hey, let's talk. Let's get together. Let's just meet for coffee. Let's talk. And we're just going to talk. We're just going to talk. A couple of hours later, back at her place, we've done more than talk. Then we start seeing each other again, and it becomes this thing of, well, we're seeing each other now. We're sleeping together. We really should be together. No, I don't want to go through this. And the cycle begins.
Right.
Sometimes people love the chase. They love the pursuit. They love the unattainable. And when the unattainable becomes attainable,
they don't want it anymore.
They're bored.
Yeah, that can happen. Okay, someone wants to... Oh, actually, the texter about the weight. He met me big, and we have been together for 4 years. So that question about the weight gain.
He met her, she was big. They've been together for 4 years, and all of a sudden now it's a problem?
Yeah, something.
Bull.
Right.
There's something going on with him. Maybe he's depressed. Maybe he can't get it up anymore, and he's looking for somebody to blame, and he's blaming you. Don't buy into it. If he liked you big when you first met, he should like you big now, and if he's demanding that you change...
What could have changed? Exactly.
You know what? Whatever the reason, he's making the mistake. Dump him.
And you don't fall in love with somebody's potential either.
No.
You don't look at them and say, well... I'll take him or her, 30 pounds lighter, and I'll just put him on a diet.
He liked her enough at the beginning. Something's going on in his life, and he's putting the blame on her. Don't buy into it. There's nothing wrong with you.
Good, thanks. Okay, you're hosting a speed dating event tomorrow night, I hear?
Yeah, I'm hosting a speed dating event. It's, if you want to sign up, dashingdate.com. It's for people between the ages of 30 and 42, happening at Luca and Franco, located on St. Denis. All details are at dashingdate.com. And I'll be there giving a nice little speech, a nice little pep talk, getting everybody rocking and rolling, ready to love.
All right, ready to date. Dashingdate.com. Frank, thank you very much as usual, and we will catch you on the next Dating Dilemmas.
It's going to be a month away, but I look forward to it.
Great. Thank you very much. Well, maybe not. You may be on our boys club and all of that. You may join us before then. Thank you to all of you for participating in the program. Thanks to Brad Smith in Master Control. If you need to get in touch with me, passion@cjad.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Dr. Laurie Sex Talk. And don't forget the 30-day yoga challenge at mokshayogawestisland.com. Would love to see you join that challenge and get an even bigger prize from me, from Passion.
Listen to Passion with Dr. Laurie Batito, live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD and CJAD.com.
If you need help with your relationships, my buddy Frank, he's got some tips. Just go to franktalks.com. His advice is better than your mom's. He knows what you're going through, 'cause Frank has been there too. So log on to franktalks.com. franktalks.com.
Need help with love, sex, dating and relationships? Visit franktalks.com.
Need help with love, sex, dating, or relationship issues? Help from Frank Kermit, the best-selling author and Canada's most international relationship coach, is only a click away at franktalks.com. What do you do when you feel like a fool? When your heart has been broken again? Pick up the phone or get onto Skype and talk on a private session. Yeah, get a little help from Frank Talks. Whoa, whoa, get by with a little help from Frank Talks. You gotta try a little help from Frank Talks. What do you do when your love goes away? Try coaching one-on-one. How do I sign up to turn things around? Just sign up at franktalks.com. Yeah, get by with help from Frank Talks. I get by with little help from Frank Talks. Time to try a little help from Frank Talks. Doesn't cost a lot of money. It's the best rate going around. But it costs a lot of money. Oh, it's worth every cent that you will put down. yes, we're certain, just read the reviews. Frank knows his stuff, and Frank's got goods. Good love can soon come to you.